Welcome, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Before you do anything else, hit the like button and subscribe to both of our channels. Hit the like button and subscribe to both of our channels. Listen, we're gonna get into more nuance. Touched on it a little bit the other day, but we're gonna talk about it a little bit more now that Shedeur Sanders has been drafted 5th round, 144 to the Cleveland Browns. We can kind of breathe a sigh of relief that he has been drafted, but it's a lot, that has been circulating, being talked about in the past few days. Listen, my girl Keisha is a football head. I'm not much of a football head. I had to call on her for her expertise. And my homegirl, I ain't gonna say her name, but my homegirl, she's a football head too. We've talked about it, and we've talked about Angel too, and just different examples of confident Black athletes, the difference in genders, what happens, even the nuance of if your parent was an athlete. Does that play a part in this? It's so many layers to this. I don't think there's any one reason per se or one thing, if that makes sense. I think everybody wants to say, well, it's this, well, it's that, I think it's so many different things that play a role in what has transpired these past few days, specifically with Shedeur Sanders, and what we've just been seeing over the years, period, with Black athletes who are has a huge bravado, a lot of confidence and things like that. How, they try to humble or, different things like that. So what's going on, Dre Stewart? What's going on, Prisha Burton, Tulip, Toya Knows Basketball, Faz. So we'll get into Shedeur Sanders and the similarities between him and Angel Reese and even other athletes. It's not just going to be Angel Reese. And we'll talk about Chennedy Carter signing to a Mexican team. Remember, we went live the other night. Me and Keisha talked about her doing that interview with the guy, things of that nature. And then 2 or 3 days later, I think we literally did that on Wednesday.
Yeah, we did.
It's Saturday. And so, yeah, and now today, Saturday, she signed to a Mexican team, the Adelita Chihuahuas or something of that nature. So we're going to get into a little bit of everything. You know what I'm saying? How you feeling, Keisha? How you feeling? How do you feel about finding out that Shedeur has been drafted finally today, 5th round? What's your thoughts on?
Okay, I will say this. Hi, chat. Hi, chat. How y'all doing? Hi, Key. I will say, I would when I heard about the news of him getting drafted, I was relieved, but it was a little bit of a mixed bag because it's almost like, okay, it makes you wonder with all the public pressure, with all the people talking about it. I mean, it was trending everywhere yesterday, the last 2 days. It was everywhere. The media was picking up on it. It was a big story. It even drove the ratings up for the draft, is what I've been told. Because people were trying to figure out, okay, is he gonna get picked? He can't escape his last name. He can't escape the legacy of his father. So he was going to always have that amount of scrutiny on him. And this draft process, it just seemed like it was piling on. So it was almost like, yeah, he got drafted and we relieved, but it still makes you wonder why put this young man through all of this if he has the talent to play the position for which he is being drafted. So it makes you start to make a lot of questions about why would you make this young man go through all of this? So it's a mixed bag for me.
For sure, for sure. What's going on, Edward T, Joe Mama, Hog Balls, Dream Chaser, CJ, Pretty Ugly, Adam Wilson, Chell 1984. Thank y'all for coming through. Listening, 79 of y'all. Hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and hit the all notification button so you know every time we go live, drop a video or a short. You want to know immediately So thank y'all so much for coming through. If you're on Twitter, as I always say, just come over and subscribe. You can keep listening on Twitter. We appreciate y'all, but come over and subscribe. That's how you can support and keep this page blowing up. Keisha is almost at 1,000 subscribers. Look, let's try to get her over the hump even by the end of this. Keisha is at 978. You telling me 22 of y'all can't subscribe? 22 can't subscribe. Man,
Hook your
come
girl up.
subscribe, man. Seriously. Come on, bruh. So, thank y'all for coming through and hit the like button. So, I definitely see where there's a mixed bag. My friend was telling me her thought process as well, around it, and she was like, I get what everybody's saying about race and racism, but she was like, I also feel like it's his dad and the things that his dad said and all of that. And kind of she was just basically saying his dad didn't help him, and once he got an agent, things went differently. He apparently this morning he let go of his father, or not let him go, but like shifted towards an agent.
He
And
did.
after doing that, he was drafted. So I said back to her, like, I definitely see what you're saying. I think it's different things that play a part. She was just saying, like, with his dad saying such a bold statement, like, my son ain't going to da 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 teams. You know what I mean? Like, he's just
Yes.
not. It gives collusion in that, like, in the fact of, like, who you talking about? Like, who are you to say where your son can go? So what do you think about that, Keisha? Like, do you think that hindered him?
I
Uh,
I
yeah.
definitely think the persona of his father hindered him. I know we talk about racism a lot, but I'm gonna talk about that persona. I'm gonna talk about the persona of his father. Of course, they didn't want him making statements like he run the NFL. The NFL is notorious for making sure everybody know nobody is above the shield. And if you think you're above the shield, they will smack you down real quick to let you know you're not above the shield. That's the reason why the NFL is not as personable as the NBA. The NBA is about stars and about these guys like LeBron, and the teams sometimes be secondary. In the NFL, it's different. Teams are king. It's not so individualized, even though some players have their own brand. Don't get me wrong, but it's less people having a brand than, like, say, the W or the NBA. So of course they didn't like some of the comments that Deion Sanders said, because it made him feel like he had some type of power that they definitely wouldn't give to Deion Sanders. So but he's also one of those fathers that like to manifest for his children, to try to give them, to put it in their head that they're good enough for what. Of course he feels that his son was good enough to go to any of these teams, and also he feels like his son was good enough to dictate where he went. Other fathers have done this before. Other football families have done it before, because I'm from Louisiana, like everybody know. The Manning families did the same thing with Eli Manning when he was coming out. They didn't want to go. I think it was San Diego. They wanted to go to New York, and they made that happen. So this has been done before, but I don't think they liked it from this messenger. You, does that make sense? Because nobody got on Archie Manning and Eli Manning when they said they didn't want to go to a certain place. And actually, on draft night, he didn't. The trade was made. He did not go to that place. So the confidence sometimes from one person is not viewed as confidence if it's a different, if the person giving the messenger is not the same. So yeah, to me, they expect us, they expect Black people to always be humble and always be appreciative of even having an opportunity. And when a person doesn't come across that way, they have a problem with that persona. And I think it's in this case, it's just who the message was relayed from. If it had been anybody else, I don't think it would have been taken that way. But because it came from him, it's arrogance, it's crazy. How can he say that kind of stuff? He don't run nothing. And all he was saying is, I feel like my son is good enough to kind of dictate a couple of things. Well, they showed him that no matter how much talent your son has, you do not dictate
You
anything
do
in the
not dictate that,
NFL.
right? So
Yes.
I'm glad you touched on all of those things because people are frustrated when you say, well, um, well, his dad is a part of the reason or whatever. I want to be clear. Y'all gotta listen to understand and don't listen to respond. Actually, that's about to be one of my openers from my page. Listen to understand and not to respond. Let's have a conversation, okay? Keisha is not saying that what Dion did is wrong. She's just giving you the perspective from those owners, what they're seeing. They don't like what he's doing. She ain't saying what he's doing is wrong, but they don't like it and they want to make him suffer and his kids possibly suffer because he is trying to give his kid empowerment, basically. He's trying to
Mhm.
say, you're empowered. When people think about what they did with Colorado and all of that stuff or whatever, it's so many ways you can look at it. I think people don't realize what Dion did when he went to that team, if that makes sense. He
Mhm.
quite literally, you could look at it as nepotism, right?
Mhm.
But what he did was empowerment. He did something to empower these athletes.
Mhm.
And obviously, they're his sons, right? You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So I don't see nothing wrong with when it was said to me, like, well, that's why it didn't help him. That's why. Well,
Mhm.
yes, that is why. Also, I think I said, well, why can't a person talk like that about their child? If that's how he feel, that's how he feels. I mean, when my kids, I don't have any kids at the moment, but when my kids play sports, rather I think they have things to work on or not, I probably will have a similar mindset of like, yo, my child is like, I don't know, they're
Right.
the best person. And I think also because he played the sport, he just has that bravado. You know what I'm saying? So honestly, you got to kind of think about that part of it when it comes to Duval. Do you want to be held hostage?
He make me sick.
Talking about,
He always messing with me.
do you want to be held hostage, Duval? But anyway,
Go ahead.
I think Hogboss said, I think the coaches scared Dion will take their job if they drafted his son.
That was one of the narratives too.
One of the narratives.
I'm gonna tell you, Key. Like I said, Eli Manning back in 2004, he said he did he the the people the organization that had the number one overall pick was the Chargers. He said before that draft he didn't want to go there because he didn't think the organization was a good organization at the time. His his father backed him up and said, "Look, I have some concerns with the Chargers and the way they treat the players. I really don't want my son to go there either." On draft night, a trade was made, so Eli Manning ended up in New York, and another quarterback ended up at the Chargers. They made the same. This is not. We have precedents for this, but they were not viewed in a negative manner because they expressed their opinion of that organization. They wasn't viewed that way. It was viewed. Archie Manning was viewed as a great father for acknowledging what was what. He wasn't. He wasn't. He wasn't viewed as, oh Lord, he trying to undermine the shield. He trying to act like his son can go wherever he want to go. And then the next thing the chat's gonna say, well, does Eli Manning and Shedeur Sanders have the same type of talent? We can have that debate. I, it's hard to tell because the elite Eli Manning already played. So, and this is a college kid, so I don't want to make that comparison. I'm just saying, as a parent, and as a parent that has played in the NFL, like Deion Sanders has played, who's had firsthand knowledge of all these different organizations, right? He's played, he's a Hall of Famer. You don't think his um his insight is not valid after
Yeah.
all he gave to the game?
Like he literally was a player and now is a coach.
Like he don't have no valid input? That's viewed as being cocky because because but he played, was a Hall of Famer, played in two sports, football and baseball, and he don't have any insight that's valid. And if he do, you being arrogant. No, he has firsthand knowledge. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely wild to see just the different things people are saying about it. Don KJ said we seen this with LeVar Ball. We know why. Yeah. I mean, it's just
It'd be something if it was me talking. Like I've never played a down. I mean, I've watched it, I've covered, you know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah,
But I've
yeah,
never
yeah.
played the sport.
Right.
It'd be something if I come out there and say, look, my kid ain't going nowhere. But
Mm-hmm.
the Hall of Fame daddy can't say
Yeah.
nothing.
Like he don't got no sense. You know what I mean?
If
Like,
he can't say nothing, I know I can't say nothing then. Nobody can
mhm.
say nothing hell. But they took it as, I don't know. They took it as he was trying to dictate where he wanted his kid to go, and who doesn't want their kid in the best situation? Who doesn't?
I mean, he's just. I said why so basically, when she presented that to me, I said why he can't just say that. I said him saying that doesn't mean that that's what's gonna happen. He's just
Right.
saying I don't want that to happen. He can say that because he wants the best situation for his kid. So he can say what the whatever he wants to say. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I'm not really understanding the concept of what's going on. To
Yeah.
be completely honest,
Mm-hmm.
it's not like Dion is like I'm gonna try to make an NFL. Another NFL, and my son, like he's not doing anything to disband the entire NFL or anything like that. So to send a
No.
message like this is quite interesting because what everyone definitely felt was him going first round was debatable, right? It was like,
Mm-hmm.
some people are like, yeah, he first round. Others are
Mm-hmm.
like, it's debatable. When he
Right.
didn't get picked in the second round, it was like,
Mm.
oh, like that's
Like,
interesting. You know what I'm saying?
what's going on
What's
here?
going on now? Like
Right.
okay, and then it was like okay, third, okay, like so it was like finally fifth round comes, and the only thing that changed for him to be drafted in the fifth round was the agent.
Yeah.
So
And
I
let's talk
mean,
about that. So it's okay. So are you trying to send a message? Because his father was his agent, right? That's what was reported in that. Because I seen the clip with the boys were talking about. They had to get an agent. So are they sending a message that they don't want to discuss these things with Dion? Like, why couldn't his father be his agent? I just, I'm just at a loss for words. Like, he has firsthand knowledge of professional football.
mm-hmm,
Why? Why? It seems personal.
mm-hmm,
It seems like we don't want to deal with your father at all. And if your father have any say so in anything, we're just not gonna talk to you. So the minute you get another agent, you get drafted. Is that how we working now? NFL? So you have the
mm-hmm.
wrong representation. You just not gonna. I don't understand. I'm confused. I don't. So if he doesn't pick a representative that the NFL wants to deal with, that's how they were just gonna continue on with this thing like that. They wasn't gonna draft him if he didn't say like his dad didn't step down. because I'm pretty sure his dad stepped down for his child. Like, yeah, maybe it's me. I'm not gonna even put
Yeah.
my ego into it. Maybe it's me. You'd have failed past the third round. Look, maybe I need to take a step back. I just want you to succeed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Because some daddies would have been like, no, what the hell?
Yeah, we not doing that.
Yeah. So, but I'm just
Yeah.
trying to figure out, what did he do? What did Dion do that was so detrimental that his son had to fire him on the third draft day?
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's definitely it's definitely clearly a part of it was his dad, and you know, it's clearly the
That's
confidence that he exudes, the way in which he handles his kids, and the way in which he handles the NFL as a business. And I think you're right about the fact that they don't want, like, he probably knows the ins and outs of all that shit for the most part, right? Because even people were
mm-hmm,
like, well, he has good relationships, like with these teams, like he had not all of them
yeah,
per se, but with people in these organization, he has good relations. So it's not like he's not liked or something like that.
mm-hmm,
So it was, people were kind of grasping for straws, trying to figure out like what is it, when it comes to him. And I think, at the end of the day, I think I agree with what you said. There had to be possibly some kind of message there, you
mm-hmm,
know, where it's kind of like, we don't like when players actively come off and possibly their parents bigger than the program, right? Because I
mm,
think Shedeur was even saying, if I get drafted, kind of like, I'm gonna turn get ready for me to turn this stuff around. Kind of like
mm,
he was gonna be the one to pave a way or whatever the case may
mm-hmm.
be, showing his confidence and how he feels about being drafted and what he brings to the table. So yikes.
But you know what? Edward T makes a good. I forgot about this. I'm glad he brought that up. Edward T said Lamar Jackson mom. Well, Lamar Jackson's a quarterback. He plays for the Ravens. His mom is his agent, and they did the same thing. Even with his new contract, they kept strong arming her because they really don't want her. She's been his agent throughout the whole draft since he's been in Baltimore, and every time he comes up for like a contract situation, they try to strong arm this black lady, and she don't. She's staying 10 toes down. She is his agent, so maybe it's a NFL like to deal with the people that they can control or have their best interests at heart, because your mom or your dad is going to have more of your interests at heart than the organization. So maybe that's some of their trepidation with dealing with family members that are your agent. But like Edward T said, Lamar Jackson's mom, she Lamar wouldn't sign. Look, you gonna sign, you gonna deal with her,
Mm-hmm.
and that's it. But
Yeah.
that led to contract negotiation became stalled after a while, and they finally got it together. But why? It seems like the NFL is just trying to keep a monopoly. They got certain people that they have as agents, and they want you to sign with those people because they have long-standing relations with those people. You start bringing out in um, different people, because the same thing they were saying about Travis Hunter. I think he has Lil Wayne, because Lil Wayne just started his own agency. These are new people that the NFL don't want to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? These people are not part of the club, the good old boy club. So I think sometimes, even what you do, if you have your father, um, sometimes they don't want to deal with them
Yeah.
because they know that father's gonna have Shedeur's back before they have the team's back. But that's what an agent is supposed to be. You're supposed to have your clients back.
Supposed to. Do
You
they?
so,
The Lord may never know. They supposed to. Um,
mm,
so when me and you kind of talked about it before we hopped on here, you know, for me, because I see some people saying certain things. This isn't about exactness when I say, are there similarities between Shedeur Sanders and Angel Reese? This isn't about, they're not even the same gender. So it doesn't have to be the exact
but there are
story.
some similarities, though.
There are similarities in the fact of, and I'm just using their names, obviously, the likeness of it, but even Chennedy Carter's, there's these athletes, right? Rather they're women or men, you know what I'm saying? That have a bravado, confidence about them, about the way that they play, that people feel some type of way about. It really bothers people. So don't think too deep like it has to be the exact same story and the exact same thing happened to them. I'm not even talking about the fall in the draft. Angel Reese was still a first round pick. Let's be clear. That's not terrible. But what I'm talking about, she still fell. Number one, she did definitely still fail. But what I'm talking about is people wanting them to be, and let's be clear, because people say humble. No, you want them to be agreeable, amenable.
Yeah.
I want them to be
humble to what?
To what? I
want somebody to explain that to me.
When it comes to Angel and even Shedeur, I'm like, they seem extremely humble. They're always thanking God. They're always,
thanking their family, their support system.
Lucky number 7. I'm just grateful to play basketball. I'm not mad about my contract. I don't, Angel could have said 70,000. What is this?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They don't, they never been in no, Keisha, they ain't never been, even when they fought on the court, South Carolina and LSU fought, what Angel did? She went and sat down.
Yeah.
She went and sat down, like,
Key.
So, my point is, like, I just feel like people don't like confident and cocky Black athletes. I think that's just clear. I think people don't like that. I think if you don't, people want you to be digestible. And when they can't digest you, it's an issue for them. Like they make it your fault why they can't digest you when you're just being yourself. Keisha, let me tell you something. If I work day in and day out, it's like some of the customers that call in, or not call in, but some of the customers I speak with at my job, right? I do this job every day, and you call here to tell me how to do my. I've been doing this job. Like, what are we actually talking about? You know what I'm saying? So if I'm an athlete, right? I work my behind off. I work my behind off, man, to do this. You think I'm not going to say I'm the best or I'm one of the best or what I bring to the table? What is wrong with that? Like, I really be trying to understand what is wrong with athletes being that way. Black athletes specifically being that way.
Let me tell you something, Key. Shedeur Sanders grew up in affluence. He don't have to be doing all this he doing. He's set for life either way it go. So what are you talking about humble? To humble you, it is humbling to work so hard for something like he's worked for this day, despite he could have quit at any moment and been okay. No, he set a goal for himself. He had a talent and he went after it. And you want him to tell the world that he's not good at it? What do you? I don't. If you don't believe in yourself, who else gonna believe in you?
And you can't tell me I gotta believe in myself the way someone else believes in their self, or not, because I don't like that. People be like, well, you could believe, but you see how so and so act. Well, why can't you?
I'm not them.
I'm not them. That's how this is how I am. This is what I'm about. This is how I play. This is how I am. Why do I have to dumb myself down to make myself digestible for others? And then when I don't do that, an organization wants to humble me, because the fact that Shedeur fell out of the first 2 rounds is for sure to me a message.
Mm-hmm.
It's a message. You fell out of first two rounds, finally get to the fifth, and it's like, okay, we'll pick you. You know what I mean? We're not gonna let you
Right.
completely not be in the league, but we just wanted to show you something. So okay,
Yeah.
we'll pick you now. It's definitely was a message being sent there. Am I tripping?
No, you're not tripping. And whoever said that you tripping is just lying to themselves. They know good and god doggone where they was trying to send a message. But what I don't understand is why? Because he was confident, because he spoke, and he was sure about himself, and also he told you about the he also talked about the um the hardships he go through with having a Sanders name. He called a spade a spade. He got mad at that. The boy do go through stuff by having that name. People people are gonna talk about you, as Bronny has found. I mean, look, your dad is one of the greatest players to ever play. Good or bad, we're gonna talk about you. So this kid, this Sanders kid, has had to deal with this all his life ever since he picked up a football. Somebody's been telling him he's not gonna be as good as his dad. He's not gonna be good. Period. He's just riding off his dad's coattails. But he goes out there and works his ass off. He comes his butt up the ranks. He was at an HBCU for 2 years. Went to a Power Five school after that. He was productive everywhere he went. So that tells me that you got to be putting work in, because the one thing about sports don't care about money. If you don't put the work in, you're not gonna be good. So that lets me know you put the work in. So now you want him to come to the draft like a little puppet dog and act like he not good when he didn't did all this work up until this moment. And what's so glaring about this is there's a lot of athletes that are cocky. He ain't the first,
Nah,
but they
nah.
didn't go through all this.
I mean, punishing. There's a punishment there, right? Like when an athlete is like that, it's like we have to punish them. I mean, I think we've seen Angel go through it for years, and we will continue to see that. I hate to say that's something I think will never end when it comes to Angel. When she did that, that wasn't humble. That wasn't
Right.
that wasn't humble. You know what I'm saying? When she did that
Mm-hmm.
type of stuff, the way she talks when she plays, when she's playing a Nafisa Collier and she's bucking at her, or she's clapping at Hayes and all of that, or she, F out of here, F out of here. You got even Lisa Leslie telling her, well, we're gonna talk about that, when it's like, Lisa, girl, anyways. You
Yeah.
know, the respectability politics that plays into, you know, the somebody, specifically black people, have to show up in society again to not be punished. It's like, we won't punish you if you do things the way that we want you to do it. They clearly were punishing Shedeur. Like there that
Mm-hmm.
you can't, no one is willing to say he should have gone fifth round. There's no one who is willing to say that you shouldn't go, he should have went fifth round. Even people who don't care for him, people who thought that he was, what I'm trying to say, like,
Mm-hmm.
not the best. It was like, I mean, he's not a first round pick, but definitely the second. And then it was like, wait, so clearly it was punishment here. And when you're, like I said, when you're not digestible for them, you're not agreeable. When, I don't know, you look a certain way, act a certain way, I think they're gonna punish you in some shape, way, and form for that. And I feel like that's what happened today. I mean, AL 504, they were punishing his father, but ultimately him. I mean, I get you
Yes.
what you're saying, but I mean, his father is only gonna feel it, but so not but so much, because he feels for his son. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
But
saying? But
this is his son's journey. So I will say this too. Like, okay, I get it. Some athletes, some people, some celebrities, some whoever it is, you might not like their attitude, you know. Some people, just like we talk about all the time, some players you like, you know, some players you don't like, right? For whatever reason, whatever about their personality, whatever it is. But that'll never stop me from going, yeah, they shouldn't have a job because I don't like that AT choke slam Angel Reese. They should put her out the league. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like, yeah,
Oh
because I
yeah.
don't
I'm
because I
good
don't
off.
like
Look,
you.
I don't like Alyssa Thomas, but she's a great player.
Why would I sit up here and lie like she's not a great player just because I don't care for her in that sense as an athlete? You know what I'm saying? Like to go actively out of your way to show somebody that they should be in a place while toying with this young man's future
Future.
is diabolical. I said it last night. If he can play, I mean, sports is becoming. Oh my God! It used to be my happy place, y'all. You
Yeah.
used to could go watch sports, and everything's determined on the court or
Yeah.
the field, and you didn't have to worry about all this other BS.
Mm-hmm.
Now, pop political agendas and all this crap is seeping in to something that used to be a meritocracy. Like if you were good, if you were talented, you got drafted. Now it's like, well, this group of people don't like her, so we gotta appease them. So we gotta have her fall to the seventh spot because we gotta show her that she needs to be humble. Because all that bravado we don't like. When it used to be, well, she can play, so I'm gonna take her. It used to be, yeah, if you had some off the court issues, that will help hurt you. Now your personality hurts you.
Mm-hmm.
So that means you get the same ding as somebody going out there. Um, I don't know. I talk about Johnny Manziel. He was a football player, crazy as hell. Johnny Manziel got drafted and he was running around here drunk and acting a fool. He even did a documentary and say he was high on coke most of the time. He went in the first round. Everybody seen the red flags and didn't care. Now, if your personality is bad, kid, if I don't like the way you talk at the press conference, you going in the fourth. Because I don't like what you said, and I definitely don't like what your mama said. If your mama talking, having your back, I don't like it. You going in the fourth, key.
Yo,
I,
Johnny,
I, I,
he was on coke most of the time, and they drafted him in the first round.
I watched that documentary. Johnny Manziel say he was high half the damn time, even in college, leading into that damn draft. Because he was always a high hit. He came from money. He was another person. He came from money. He was from Texas. His dad, them, they were all people. So Johnny Manziel didn't need money. He was just he said he was high as a kite half the time. He went in the first round to the damn Cleveland Browns, and he crashed and burned in the NFL because he had a problem. But Johnny had all kind of accusations during his college years, off the court stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't stop him from getting drafted, and he had a badass attitude. He was cocky as hell every
Mm-hmm.
time he talked. But like I say, it depends on the package. Some other
Yeah.
people do it, it's passion. Another person do it, they're not humble. Now, how can black athletes get around this persona that's been baked into the American existence for all these years? It's not going to change no time soon because when we get to a certain pinnacle of something, they expecting all of us to be humble. Like I've said all the time, I have two kids. One is the Cam Ward, humble, happy to be there, gonna cry. He's so elated. I have a daughter who's a Shedeur. I'm supposed to be here because I work my ass off. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
And some people don't like
Yeah.
that side. They prefer the crying and the, but everybody ain't like that. So,
Mm-hmm.
but why does your personality come
Yeah.
into the fray?
Determine
You
that.
know,
Yeah. At the end of the day, it shouldn't determine that. Because like, man,
you said
because
Keisha that they lied about they came from money. Who lied? I don't know, Hog Boss. Who lied that they came from money? Who? Johnny Manziel people? I thought he came from money. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, I wish people could just be themselves and you're not under a microscope and
Mhm.
punished for that, right? Like I've seen clips of Tom Brady on the sideline and then let's say Odell Beckham on the
Yeah.
sideline and they're doing identical things, but the way it's perceived and looked at is an issue, right? It's
Mhm.
it's fine when Tom Brady does it, but it's not okay when Odell Beckham does it. You know what I'm saying? It's fine when this, athlete does it, but when the black athlete does it, it's not okay. It's not okay for you
Mhm.
to believe in yourself, for you to be confident, cocky, know yourself. It's not okay for that. We want to break that down. And look, me and Keisha talked about it in our live on Wednesday about Kennedy. We said we didn't agree with her being possibly ousted out of the league for a second or third time. I'm not sure if
Mhm.
that's what happened or if she just didn't sign. And we talked about
Right.
what she would have to do. And people were frustrated with what I was saying. I wasn't saying she should do it. I was saying what she would have to do in order to get a chance. It looks like Shedeur collapsed finally. And
Mhm.
he said, I'm just gonna do what I have to do to get a chance. That's what it looks like to me. He just wanted a chance and he just did what he had to do because I think they would have let that man go undrafted to prove a point. But he just said, you know what I'm trying to say? And
Yeah, he had to make a grown man decision with
between if
his
he wants to
with his
play the
father.
game or not.
Right. With his father, because that look, let me tell you, if y'all don't think that's a grown man decision, to go and talk to your parent and say, Dad, I'm gonna have to reach out to a different agent. You know what I mean? This is supposed to be one of the happiest times of your life, and it's marred with I need to go talk to my dad and have this strong conversation about I don't think you can represent me. The backlash that's coming, I want to play.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Because here's the question: if he didn't switch agents, what do you think, Key? Would he have been drafted?
I don't know. And then okay, so because Lisa just came in, Lisa said Shador didn't get a new agent. That was Shiloh.
Oh, okay.
Is that I've been hearing that he got a new agent.
I thought
So
they was talking about both of them when they was doing that clip, but
I
hey,
thought it was both of them got a new.
I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
it was
yeah,
both of them while they was talking. That's what I thought.
yeah. Yeah. So
But I,
mm,
I don't know.
I don't know,
I
but
just know somebody had to change an agent, and then things changed.
yeah.
That's all I know. But at the end of the day,
Look, congratulations to Shedeur Sanders for being drafted. Regardless of anything, he looks super happy, super excited to be drafted, super excited to get a chance. And obviously now his foot is in the door, and so he'll be able to show up and show out. You say you wanted the best or you're gonna be great, whatever, then just show these people at this point because you clearly wanted to be a part of the game. You know,
because
mom, go ahead.
he could have came out Key and told look, let me tell y'all something. He's very mature. Like I
Yeah.
say about Angel Reese, she's very mature. Cause I probably would have told all y'all to go to HEW hockey stick. My son said this when he came down the stairs. He said, you believe this shit they doing to Shedeur Sanders? I said, yeah. You know how they beat. And he said, he better one than me because I'd have told him to screw this whole thing. I got my daddy got money. I ain't got time for this shit. I can go do something else. I say, yeah, but he really wants to play. So when you committed to something, he said, no, I feel, bro, but it would have been real hard for me not to be
Yeah,
on Twitter talking about live. That's what my
yeah,
son said, live. Like, you see this shit, yo?
yeah, yeah.
So he was very mature in this situation. His brother too was keeping him his spirits up, making him laugh, and stuff back. It's gonna be all right, bro. Because he was in the same draft too, and he hasn't been picked. So he was
He
like,
got
yeah,
picked.
bro.
He got picked to the Houston, Keisha.
Oh, cool. Cause he told his brother. He told his brother. He said, man, if you ain't getting picked, I already know about me. Cause you're the better athlete.
Yeah.
so
My friend texted
so
me. She texted me at 7:30. She said Shiloh to Houston.
ain't that something?
Yeah, so Shiloh to
So,
Houston.
so, so again, is the agent the issue?
It's definitely to
I
be
just want
seen.
somebody in the chat to explain. Is it because Dion was in the midst in these rooms and talking all this stuff before, and they
Hold on,
like,
let me, because somebody made a point, right? Angela Dawkins. Shout out to Angela Dawkins. Shout out to the entire chat, actually, the entire chat. Everybody coming through with their comments. Man, I'm loving what y'all talking about. This is a great conversation. Make sure you hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and hit the all notification button so you know every single time we go live. If you subscribe to me, please go over and subscribe to Keisha. If you're subscribed to Keisha, please come subscribe to me.
please,
Listen, when
please,
we
please.
started this, Keisha was at 978. Keisha is already, you feel me? Keisha is now at 980. So
Thank you, thank you.
if you're on Twitter, here's how you can support. It's free. Come over, subscribe to our channels, but you can keep listening on Twitter. But that's how you support us, is by subscribing to our channels. Hey, my channel is WBB Universe. All one word. Search it, subscribe, and then keep listening on Twitter. WBB Universe. Keisha's is Cut the Ish Real Talk Sports. Come on over, subscribe, y'all. Get her from 980 to 1,000. Let's get Keisha to 1,000. Come over and subscribe, y'all, please. And then come on over to my page and subscribe if you can. I am at 875 subscribers. If y'all could get me to 880 by the end of this stream, look, that would be love. WBB Universe, and then Cut the Ish Real Talk Sports, and hit the like button. Thank y'all so much for coming through. Listen, Angela Dawkins made a great point. She said this wasn't just for the Sanders family. This situation was for the world. What has
Mm,
happened doesn't make any sense at all. God is still in control. He is the only one who can judge. Let's take the first sentence, right? It wasn't just for the
okay.
Sanders family. This is a situation for the world. I definitely can understand where this person is coming from, because that is what a lot of stuff is, when it's on a main stage like that, because the draft was every day on TV, on ESPN. Every day they talked about him not being drafted yet. So the message is sent out to other parent. There may not be a Deion Sanders, but like you said, it could be a Lamar Jackson type of, just different people like that.
Hmm.
They are trying to advocate for their kids, or their kid has a certain personality, and they're like sending a message like, listen, we not finna let this get out of hand and let y'all think y'all finna come up here and and run anything or have any say
Hmm.
so in anything. And so I definitely think it could have been that, like, it was sending out a message. Joe Mama, shout out to Joe Mama for the $4.99 super chat. Him not being drafted was also hurting the other Colorado players, because they were not being, once he was taken, others were too, because they were not being taken. I'm assuming you're saying
Right. Then
once he was taken,
they didn't
others.
start going till he went.
Yeah, yeah. So that, I mean, it
Interesting.
could have been it could have been a Deion saying, if none of the Colorado,
Interesting.
if none of the Colorado players, it wasn't even just his son. It's like it was other players too.
Yeah, it was about a good 7 or 8 of them that entered their name in the draft. None of them went. Now Travis Hunter went number 2 from there, but he's a
Oh
he's
yes,
he's a generational talent. they were not going to pass up on Travis Hunter. But
Facts.
even Travis Hunter was like, what's what's going on? Because he expected his Travis Hunter is a wide receiver, and he was expecting his quarterback Shedeur to go some ticks after him, and he's looking like he was even doing an interview, telling people to be quiet in the middle of the interview because he's trying to hear the names, and he's like, hold on a minute, in the middle of the interview, and he was like, okay, that wasn't him. I'm trying, guys, I'm sorry, I'm trying to hear from where my guy goes. He was even like, he threw me the ball. Like, I don't understand how he's not going because he's one of the reasons why I'm here. So,
Hmm.
and then after all that debacle, I got a question for you, Key. You think all this groundswell, all these people talking about it, all these media people talking about it, all Twitter talking about it last night, do you think that kind of, because it started to become a black stain on the NFL? Do you think they were like, yeah, I didn't know it was gonna be like this? The
So
back, the
yes,
backlash.
I actually think that was a great question that you're asking. Um, I think that's what it. I think by today it was like, oh, we can't go too far trying to teach. That's like they could listen, y'all.
It's like Angel falling to the third
I was
round.
just about to say no, not even that. What I
Mm-hmm.
was gonna say was they can't let it get too far because they know without Angel, the WNBA don't grow in the way you need. Like without her, do
Mm-hmm.
you get what I'm saying? You need like it. Not to say that the NFL won't grow without Shedeur. I'm more so saying they didn't want it to be such a backlash that people start. Because if Angel goes undrafted or anything of that nature, like we would have cut up. I mean,
Right.
we was gonna cut up, we was gonna boycott, we was going all kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now the NFL is so rich and strong. I don't know how much of a dent, but I think they did start to see like it can't. We don't want to let it get too far, and
Mm-hmm.
people's eyes are too wide. Oh, him going undrafted would have been too crazy. That would have been like
Mm-hmm.
it would have been too far, and it would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, like we definitely, you know what I mean? I think they just
Mm-hmm.
didn't want any
Because
more of that.
people were talking about collusion. People were talking about they treating him like Colin Kaepernick. People were talking about he was getting blackballed. People were talking about Deion Sanders was getting blackballed, and all the players that were on the Colorado team. People were talking about the NFL are trying to damage the Colorado football team because this hinders Deion Sanders from recruiting. Because why would an athlete come under Deion Sanders if they're gonna be treated like his son and not get drafted? You know what I mean? People were talking all kind of stuff last night. Like, are they trying to shut down the Colorado football program? Like, because why would a parent send their kid to be under a coach, and the end game is to get to the NFL, and the NFL don't like our coach?
Yeah.
So,
Look, I think these are great questions. I think people are grasping at. I do it all the time with Angel. Like I ain't gonna lie, because
mm-hmm,
excuse me, because she one of my favorite players. I'd be like, this don't make sense to me, and I'm like, I'm just because if it don't make sense, and I want to understand, I'm just grasping for straws at that point, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So
mm-hmm,
I think people, I won't say they were grasping at straws, but they were really trying to figure it out. They were really trying to understand what was going on and figure it out and why it
because it
doesn't
didn't
make
make
sense.
sense.
Yeah, and all of that. Like I said, I verbatim, people were like, it's debatable about him going in the first round. It's debatable, but this falling out of the second, crazy work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Crazy
people were
work.
like, yeah, I don't know if I liked him that much to, even some, because I talked to a couple of people and they were like, okay, Keisha, how do you feel? I said, I feel he was a first round talent. And then another person was like, well, I don't feel that way, but I definitely would say, like, if he doesn't go in the second round, like, even I can't defend it. Like, at first I'm defending it because I do think his dad is braggadocious. I do think he is braggadocious. I do think it's too much to be wearing Rolexes and watches and all that, even though this boy comes from affluence, so that's all he knows. But people was talking about he nobody wants to see people in gold chains. I mean, they were saying all kind of stuff about this kid. And then I was like, well, okay, but talent wise, do you think he's a first or a second round pick? And they were like, definitely second round. Anything beyond that is craziness. Okay, I said, well, we go. I told him, remember what I said, clip it, because we're gonna come back here because I'm watching the second round right now, and he did not go. Third round came around, he didn't go again. I said, So is it still? So now that we didn't went to the fifth round, is his bragging still get on your nerves? I don't understand. He's still gonna be Shedeur. I, I don't know, Key. At the end of the day, they wanted to flex and they flexed because you know how it is. The money changes the further you fall in the draft. That's with any draft. You know, if you're the first overall pick, the W don't pay a whole bunch, but you still make more money than the seventh round pick. You know, it might not be a whole bunch. The same thing in the NFL. First rounders make more money than the second rounders. So they costed money, Key, with this foolishness. Regardless if his dad is rich, you cut me out my first round money. Now I'm gonna smile and I'm gonna say the right things, but like I say, he's very, very mature. Because when you cut me out of money, I get upset. So that's what people don't understand. Not only did he get embarrassed per se, but he missed out on money because you didn't like his dad. Is that what we saying, Keith? Oh, you're on mute. Yeah.
My bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, God, I mean, it's so many, it's so many.
Yeah, he'll be fine, Chris. That's not the point.
Yeah, I mean, we don't. Yeah, some people having different conversations, and that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he gonna be fine. He got money, but I don't give a damn if I have money or not. You cost me money. I'm looking at you funny, NFL.
Keisha said it's all about the money to me. It's all about the money to me. Look, I love it.
Tula plays say he lost 40 million.
Yeah.
Them contracts for a first rounder is different, Keith.
Wow. 40 million is crazy if that's true. 40 million is crazy if
Now I
that's
don't know what
true.
he would have got, but I know first rounders make way more than fifth rounders, Keith.
Yeah. Yeah.
And at the end of the day, you cost me money with this foolishness. But
Yeah.
I digress. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look, it's
They say his contract
210.
now would be less than 1 million.
I thought it was four. No, I thought it was 4 point something.
I'm gonna have to look. I'm about to
Yeah.
Google that. How much do first rounders make in the NFL?
Oh, you know what? It's 4 point something over 4 years. I
Yeah. So
think
it's
so.
probably a
It's about
million a
a
year.
million a year. Yeah. Um. Yeah, 45 mil to 4 mil is crazy. Yeah, I mean, if that's exactly what it is, y'all. I don't see a lawsuit. I see a lot of people saying that. I don't see a lawsuit coming from this. Um.
Listen at this. In the 2025 NFL draft, the number one pick is projected to make 43 million. Okay, he probably wouldn't have been the number one pick. With the top 12 picks, top 12 picks, they're guaranteed at least 20 million over 40 years. The remaining first round picks are guaranteed and expected to sign for around 12 million. So, and then salaries will decrease as the draft progresses. Now, they can also get signing bonus from their prospective teams, but which would be in addition to their salary. So say like even like 12 million, from 1 million to 12 key. It's
Mm-hmm.
11 damn million.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, I digress. And that's not including whatever signing bonus the team was supposed to give
Yeah.
you. So that's probably what the other person was talking about. Like maybe like she's probably talking about 40 million, like if you'd have been in the top like 5 or 6. Like he was projected. Here's the other thing. He was projected to go like 2.
Yeah.
2 or 3 or maybe even 5, because his
Mhm.
teammate was probably going to go 2. But like I say, from that to 1 million a year, yeah, it's
Yeah.
humbling. Yeah, it's more than humbling. You mofos, I'm locked into this contract for 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy work. Listen, 218 people watching. It's 218 of y'all. Make sure you hit the like button and make sure you subscribe. WBB Universe, hit the subscribe button and cut the ish real talk sports. Yeah, what I loved was he just was like so thankful, and he
Mhm.
was just happy, and all of that, man. He was
Yeah.
excited, he was like, thank you, God, I'm grateful, and all of that. And so I'm glad his spirits stayed high. I'm glad his spirits are high. You know, I'm wishing him nothing but the best, which I think is what he'll get anyway.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, we all know who has the last say, and so I think
Mhm.
what he does with this opportunity will be good, and we kind of will see what comes from that. I'm
And he
hoping.
has his endorsements, the NIL deals he already had. He's one of the. He was kind of like Angel, like he was pretty much everywhere anyway. His NIL deals were pretty significant. Like this guy was on Gatorade and kind of like Flage. Like so,
Mhm,
he's probably those are gonna go with him. You know what I'm saying? Like they
mhm.
do for the W players. So
Yeah,
he'll be okay.
it's silly. It's silly.
It's just the way it went down.
It's silly. Look, and T. Carmella is making some great points, which I like. Is she said the coaches and GMs said Shedeur made them feel small. They let a 23-year-old hurt their grown ass feelings. Give me a break. They thought him. They thought him going fifth round was gonna break his spirit. It didn't, and they can't control his personality.
Mm.
Look, I love that you said they can't personality, because Keisha keeps saying that, like, y'all really bothered by somebody's personality, not that they robbed a bank or murdered somebody, like their personality. Like,
Slapping women used to be, slapping women, sexual problems, or slapping your mama used to be bad, but now if you just got a bad personality, we don't like you. That's worse than slapping your mama in the middle of Times Square. It's worse.
yeah.
I, you know, Maybe he should have
Yeah,
been
I
a
mean, for
bad
people who was
boy.
saying, people was like, well, y'all don't understand. They said he interviewed badly too, and I'm like, well, they have example of players who interviewed badly and still went first round,
Yeah.
and they have players who are not better than him and they still went above him. So, you know,
Key, do you remember your interviews when you was 20? Cause
yeah, probably a
mine,
little bit.
mine were bad.
Yeah.
Like I just sat down and looked.
I've always been a pretty decent interviewer.
I have not.
However,
I have to coach myself. Like I know it seems like I feel so natural, but like when it's forced,
yeah,
it
yeah,
gets
yeah, yeah,
weird for me.
yeah,
So I'm like, And I have to tell myself, look, just these people don't mean, who cares? Because if I go in there, I'll be like, okay, if you ask me another one of my son has the same problem. You ask me another one of them what if questions, I'm losing my patience with this.
Yeah.
What if this, if you had this, and we tell me a time, and I be like, I gotta have that stuff free. I can't come off the dome with that silliness. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah.
had to coach myself into that. So everybody doesn't interview well. This is my point.
Yeah. No. Everybody doesn't
So
interview well. Everybody doesn't interview well. Sometimes and then it's funny because either you too much or you not enough. You know what I mean? So it's
right.
just you can't
Sometimes
get
you're too much.
you gotta be the right amount of whatever personality that they looking for. Sometimes some people are too quiet and they're like, I don't like it. They didn't do this or that during their interview. But I definitely get what you're saying. 20-something years old doing an interview, like, I mean, what are you truly expecting, for the most part? But I think either way, like I said, there's examples of people who didn't do well and still, kind of got far, or, whatever the case may be.
And another thing, somebody sent me in the email. Okay, so during this draft process,
Okay.
Shedeur bought a phone, prepaid phone that he had a number to, that he was gonna only give to the team so he can get a call when it's time, because they usually call them before they're about to pick them on TV, right? So they can get the
Mm-hmm.
camera and all that stuff ready. He said he bought this phone, this burner phone or whatever you call it, gave every 32 teams the number, and only them, because it's not his real phone. It was just, a burner phone for that process. And somebody prank called him, acting like they were a team about
Mm-hmm.
to pick him. And he was saying in one of the videos, like, how did these people, how did I even get prank called when I only gave the number to the 32 teams?
Yeah.
Who messing with me? How can a number, and on top of that, the people that prank called him put it on the internet.
Yeah. I saw that.
So
I saw that he got prank called.
so who out of these 32 teams gave out the number for these kids to prank call him? If he
Um,
only gave it to the teams.
yeah. And then that sends a message too, because like, yeah, why you doing all of that? Why you doing all of that, man?
Yes.
Why are you doing all of that? Yeah, I'm gonna drop the link. Do not come up here with any foolishness. My show isn't that kind of show. Sorry, I ain't
You
that
so
kind of
crazy.
person.
You so
People be like,
crazy.
"Well, don't we get to know?" I'm not in the mood. Not really. If you don't want to keep it cute, then you can go to on.
Yeah, they said it was old Miss frat boys, but yeah, how did they get the number though? Like,
How did they get the number? I dropped the link. It's 212 people. Hit the like button. Type in WBB Universe. Keep listening on Twitter, but subscribe to WBB Universe, one word, and cut the ish real talk sports. Make sure you subscribe. Help us get to 1,000. Keisha is so close. Keisha, you about to be there by the midweek or end of next week.
I hope so. Lord, it's
You
been a
It's been a journey, ain't it? It's been a journey,
ah
but you
Jesus.
almost there, girl. You almost there.
Y'all better make me feel better about this life I'm living. That's all I
That
can tell y'all.
we gonna throw
I got a question
one
for you.
day.
Do you
Huh?
think Why do you think Angel Reese fell in the draft?
Why do I think Angel Reese fell in the draft? It was so many things. That year was
Do
an
you think it
interesting.
was just her personality, or was it more like talent based? Or do you think?
So so that's where I see another similarity with Shedeur and Angel is people kind of, because what it sounded like people were saying about Shedeur sometimes was that they didn't know if his talent would translate to the league. They said he
Hmm.
played like in an easier conference, because every time people brought up his stats, somebody's debate would be, well, he did those stats in a certain conference, like would he really be that good? Things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And so similar with Angel, they were like, is her game gonna translate? Is her talent gonna translate? That was one part of
Mm-hmm.
it. And then yeah, the other part was her personality. If you remember that year, Kim sat Angel. Remember the beginning of that year, Angel
I
got sat at the
remember.
beginning of that
Yeah,
year.
that's true. Yeah.
There was all of that. Then it was the Flaujae and her mama stuff, saying
Mm-hmm.
that she doesn't
True.
have a good GPA, and it was so many things that year.
Mm-hmm.
The Elite Eight, finally, Caitlyn, not finally, but like Caitlyn defeat, in Iowa defeats them and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
think they didn't think she could translate. I think it was her personality and what she did the year before, and I think purposely, Caitlyn was going number one regardless. That was
Yeah.
just what
Yeah.
it
She
was.
was.
But it was like, okay, Angel goes number 7. But who thought she was gonna come to the league and get to start and actually show up in the way that she did? Nobody saw that.
Nobody.
So
Gotcha.
right, and then the rivalry just kept going. So I think she dropped a little bit for that reason. But here, I'll be honest with you, Keisha. When we talk about drop Angel Reese and stuff like that, people don't see the vision when it comes to Angel, and so I actually understand. I don't get mad that people don't understand her because Angel, the reason why they call her donkey, giraffe, and all of this stuff because she's so unorthodox. She's
Mm-hmm.
such an unorthodox player. So I understand why people don't believe in her mechanically, things of that nature. Where
Yeah.
I be blue when it comes to her specifically is the championships, is the SEC player of the year, is the double doubles. That's where I just kind of be like,
Yeah.
I understand the question marks, but
I don't even get in that argument no more. Yeah,
she's
it's silly.
shown you time and time again why you don't question her. So with her,
Yeah.
I genuinely don't be, I be like, I get it. And then I just be like, you just have to wait and see. I mean, if you miss out,
Yeah.
that's on you. It is what it is. So,
Yeah.
but obviously she didn't drop to 5th round. There's nothing
Right.
crazy is
Mm.
like Shedeur did. But it's some similarities there for sure. But what's up, Coach Marcus? What's
Hey,
going
coach.
on? What's going on?
Oh, no, no, we can't hear you.
Nah, we
No,
can't hear you.
not yet.
Hey, if you on Twitter and you want to hop in here, I'm opening up the panel for a little bit. If you're on Twitter and you want to come through, say your piece or whatever, keep it cute, keep it demure, but come on over. I dropped the link in the chat. Keisha, do you have to drop it on X or can they see our chat
I think you have to drop it on
on
it.
X? Well, if you
Yeah.
can, do you
Okay,
have
I
it?
will.
Yeah, you could drop it
Yeah.
on X if somebody wants to come through and talk, chop
I'm
it up
about
a
to
little bit.
copy it right now. Hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think you have to drop it on there too. I got it
yeah.
in my Instagram, so I just copy it. Hold on. I'm guessing that's what you have to do. I never really look. That is a good question.
Yeah, and if you can drop my channel in
I
there too,
will.
I appreciate it. Hey, if you on Twitter, I want you to come through. If you can, say some words. I'm open to hearing what you have to say. And if you're here on Instagram, Jesus Christ, on YouTube, come through and hit the stage. Coach Marcus will be back in a second, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
he
mean,
trying to
Angel
get it.
didn't drop crazy, so I'm not gonna act like it's like the end of the world that she dropped to 7. However, we've already heard what the redraft would be. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It was a lot going on. Yeah, it was a lot going on. I mean, his drop was precipitous. Like
It was crazy. Yeah, I mean
it
that
was
was just a
really
crazy drop.
crazy. But
Yeah,
hers was almost like, oh, okay, we can understand. Even though some of the people that went ahead of her, I still be scratching my head
I
about
mean,
some of them, but but otherwise, you know, I understand it if you don't get it.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
I understand if you or something, but him in his case, it was like if that would have happened to Angel, I think we probably would have had the pitchforks. I don't know. if the W would have made it through that shit storm. We don't even want to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. T Carmella, we're gonna get into that. I want to let Coach Marcus or anybody come up here and we can finish out this kind of Shedeur. What to me, the Shedeur Sanders, Angel Reese, and Chennedy Carter topic, honestly, they're not the same people, not the same situation, but I do think they're all competitive athletes who have a certain bravado that has given people a bad taste in their mouth, basically, y'all.
Hmm.
That's what I do. That's what I do think the
It
similarities
just,
is between a Shedeur Sanders and Angel Reese and a Chennedy Carter is just, they're hard to digest as athletes being competitive. Their personalities are hard to digest, I think, sometimes to people. And it comes off a certain way. Shout out to Shell 1984 for the $10 super sticker. Thank you so much for the $10 super sticker. I definitely appreciate it. It makes the channel bigger and grow. So thank you so much to anybody who donates. So thank you for the $10 super sticker. If you don't feel comfortable hitting up the super sticker and super chat here on YouTube, I have my Cash App right down below. It's cash sign or $sign WBB Universe, the same thing as my channel, WBB Universe. There is not a donation too big or too small. Seriously, thank you so much for donating. It makes the channel bigger for sure. But Coach Marcus is back. Can we hear you now, Coach Marcus?
You got me?
Yes, I
yes,
can hear
yeah,
you.
we can
All
hear
right.
you.
All right. All right. So,
Yes.
I found this out, Keisha, after our conversation last night with Casey.
Okay, okay,
Okay,
cool.
so there were
Okay.
some things
Okay.
that came out today specifically about Shedeur.
Okay.
Um, Apparently, he went to an interview with the Giants, with the New York Giants. And what they do sometimes is, especially with quarterbacks, they give what's called an install. So basically, he'll throw a defense up or give a play and give them the marker for the whiteboard. You draw up what it is. You see a defense. You explain what's going on, right?
Gotcha. Hmm.
So apparently, Shedeur didn't do a very good job in that install, and Brian Dayball called him out on it.
Okay.
And Shedeur had a response to him getting called out.
Hmm.
And then Brian Dayball didn't like the fact that he responded, however he responded. So it was a back and forth, and it probably wasn't a good deal. And Brian
Hmm.
Dayball was like, he wasn't prepared for it. Not a good interview whatsoever. Now,
Okay.
here's the thing. Brian Dayball is a good coach. Brian
Okay.
Dayball is not an asshole. So when it's coming from him, and he put his name on it. Before it was an
Gotcha.
anonymous, he put his name on it. So,
So now he putting his name on it.
well, I don't know when this
Hmm.
story came out or when he told
Right.
this tale, but he got his
Gotcha.
name on it now.
Okay.
So the next part of that is, what do you think Brian Dayball does? He talks to the ownership because you got to remember, New York was high on Shedeur. He talks
Okay.
to the ownership. This ain't the guy. This ain't the one.
Okay.
100% owners talk to each other. So the word gets around fast. Just the same way if somebody would have knocked the interview out the park, word gets around fast.
Hmm.
So my guess is that is probably why he dropped. I still don't understand why he dropped so low,
Right.
because I could go back in history and I can show you a bunch of first round draft picks that did a whole bunch of shit that's a hell of a lot worse than anything Shedeur Sanders has ever done and still get drafted in the first round.
Right.
So I understand that part of it, but I also understand I've seen worse and people get better, or at least still got drafted and everything. Now here's the bad part about this. Now Shedeur gets drafted 5th round. Normally in the 5th round, you fight to make the squad. There are limited opportunities for players in the league in preseason, especially now, because in preseason, when we played 4 preseason games, right? I made the team. I made the Eagles in our third preseason game. I had a great game against Atlanta, 2 touchdowns, blah, blah, blah. Usually the fourth game in the preseason was a rookie showcase. If you was about to get cut, you was going to get some play time. Other teams can see you, all of that type of stuff. They don't do
I
that
remember.
anymore.
Right.
They don't do that anymore. So now you fighting for reps, which means is Shedeur going to get in there. He's going to get limited opportunities, and he's going to be throwing the scrubs, people that's probably not going to make the team. So you ain't playing with the ones or the twos. You ain't playing with the best of the best.
Right.
So is that offensive lineman going to miss a block and he going to get popped in the mouth? Is the receiver going to drop the pass? Is what that does is that sets up easy excuses as to why he may or may not make a team. Well, we gave him an opportunity, just didn't work out. Hopefully somebody else will pick him up. All that rigmarole that you hear all the time.
Right.
That's the bad part of that. The good part of that is you got the third ranked quarterback in the draft that fell to you in the 5th round. Is Cleveland going to give him a legitimate opportunity to play?
Mm-hmm.
Because the one thing that they can't ignore, Cleveland is now the epicenter of the NFL. Cleveland is going to be rocking in minicamp because everybody's going to come to Cleveland because they want to see what Shedeur is going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland merch probably just went through the roof.
It did.
All of them people that's going to be flying into the city to go to training camp, to go to preseason games, all of that type of stuff. So Cleveland as a city is about to make a ton of money. Mm-hmm. So the only thing I want to see now is I'm hoping that they give him a legitimate chance to play and show what he can do.
Do you think they give him a legitimate chance because they don't want to have any of the backlash and they kind of do want to sell this Shedeur thing, or do you think it's just gonna all be about football and if he doesn't make the cut, that's just gonna be it?
Well, they blend now because we in a new era. Mm-hmm. So distractions and that stuff sells. That stuff makes money.
Right.
So to me, it should, keyword should, come down to the point where can he play or not?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, Cleveland still want to win. So
do they?
Yeah, absolutely.
They say they do.
Well, I mean,
from my
best...
from my understanding, that's a team that has been. People are not happy about Shedeur going there. Basically, they kind of feel like he's not going to get a fair shake there. So,
Cleveland has been known as what, like you say, Coach Marcus, quarterback killers.
Yeah. They've been snake bitten.
Yeah, so
they've been snake bitten. So
there's that.
But I mean, a lot of it is their fault. They still trying to get out from under Deshaun Watson and all the money that they paid him. But why did they pay Deshaun Watson all that money? That didn't make sense to anybody, but they did it.
They did it.
And it's biting them in the butt now. So they trying to get rid of that. Kenny Pickett is not the answer. Right. Kenny Pickett was here in Philadelphia. He was okay, but he ain't the answer. Joe Flacco is 40 years old.
He is 40.
I understand he played well last year, but he's 40 years old. He one hit away from being out of the league.
He is.
So you can, and that's why I say you can look at it like Cleveland got the third best. Some ranked them as high as 2 or 1. You got a top 3 quarterback that fell to you to the 5th round. Are you going to make the most of that opportunity? Because Cleveland got a defense. Cleveland had a good draft.
They always have a good defense. And another thing is they took 2 quarterbacks.
They took 2 quarterbacks. They took that kid from Oregon.
Yeah, Dylan Gabriel. So it's just like, okay, you got the Deshaun Watson thing going on. Whatever's going on with that, I don't quite know. And then you got these 2 rookies, in Shedeur and Dylan. And then you got Flacco, like you said. You're not gonna, like you saying, you're not gonna carry all these quarterbacks into the regular season.
You're gonna carry 3 quarterbacks.
Yes.
So
somebody's got to get cut. So
3 quarterbacks and maybe a 4th. If you carry a 4th quarterback, that 4th quarterback will be on what's called practice squad.
Yeah.
So they got Joey Flacco because Joey Flacco is the elder statesman. He can teach you how to be a pro. He was there last year, so he can teach the young fellas and the new people the offense.
Mhm.
They're looking for Joey Flacco to teach, not necessarily play, but he can get in there in the pinch if need be. They
So
got
they.
they got arguably the best tight end in the draft, who is from not too far from Cleveland. He went to Bowling Green, which is in Ohio. So they
Mhm.
had a good draft. If they would have just drafted Shedeur with their first or even second round picks, it would have made sense. It don't make sense for them to have drafted two of them unless they're gonna make Gabriel, they're gonna move him because Gabriel is a runner. He's a scrambling type running back.
Coach Marcus and Key, they got 5 quarterbacks.
But that's not unusual. That's not
Yeah,
unusual.
5.
They ain't gonna keep all of them though.
No. And if you want Joe Flacco, the elder statement, I mean, he's 40 some years old. If you want him to teach, kind of like we talk about Vandersloot, you
Yeah.
got to keep a spot for him to teach. He gonna be
Well,
on the
you got
roster.
they just like I said, and they, Kenny Pickett and Joey Flacco. Kenny Pickett is your starter unless Kenny Pickett just looks horrible in camp, and that's a possibility that can happen.
But what's going on with Watson? Is
So
he's
you
hurt,
know
right?
about you know about Deshaun Watson with the SA, all
Yeah.
of that stuff, right?
Yeah, I know.
Deshaun Watson was that dude before that happened.
Yeah, he
After,
had
he has
the
not been
lawsuits.
anywhere close,
No, it's
and
getting to his
Cleveland paid
mind.
him a ridiculous contract. It was stupid what they paid him, but they paid him for whatever reason. And he has not lived up to nowhere near the amount of money that they paid him. So Cleveland is trying to get out from under that contract because that's leaving them cash strapped if they want to sign somebody else.
So yeah, like Miss
So
Goody Two Shoes said, they just created drama.
yeah, but drama sells. And guess what? Cleveland needs all the help they can get because Cleveland has been a throwaway franchise for the longest time. They finally getting visibility. Make the most of it. You got the best or one of the best defensive players in the league with Myles Garrett.
Hmm.
So they had a good draft. They played well last year. They're expecting to be better this year. So they are trending in the right direction. So a good quarterback or a top pick can take them over the top. And technically, they got a top pick quarterback. They just drafted him in the 5th round.
Right.
So
He he just
it's a
got to
lot of
beat
levels
out.
to this, but ultimately, especially after what I found out today from Dayball and all that kind of stuff, some of this you could put on Shedeur.
Hmm.
I know he come from that UBU, that Coach Prime, that was his dad. He let everybody know that was his dad, and you can do that. But at the end of the day, it's just like anything else. If you're going in for an interview, it's time to put your best foot forward.
Oh yeah. So it's
And
a.
and sometimes the best thing you can say is nothing.
I know, but you know
And
that's
these
just not
owners
his
So
and these coaches,
personality.
these owners and these coaches talk.
Hmm.
okay, so what you saying all of that? So you give us some intel or whatever about. Hold on. First of all, shout out to Van for the super sticker. James Johnson for the Cash App. I appreciate that. It says keep up
Oh
the good
yeah,
work.
Deshaun is out because he ruptured his Achilles. Okay, keep going, Key.
Shout out to James Johnson for the Cash App as well. Thank you. I appreciate the support. It never goes unnoticed. But what I wanted to say was, and it kind of goes into the title, the intel you just said, right? You said that you spoke with somebody, somebody well, and you trust like what they're saying, and then your experience as well, from being in the league and stuff like that, and he had a little practice with him and so had a little chirping back and forth, whatever. And then the guy who he had the chirping with goes and talks to others. And that could be a part of what has gone on here because the guy was so bothered, frustrated, whatever the case may be, that he went and spoke to others about it and stamped his name on it. Like, yeah, it's official, right?
Right.
And we've talked about Chennedy Carter being in and out of the league due to word of mouth, etc. We do not know
Hmm.
the specifics, and like the only specific I can even say that I can be like, okay, is what you're saying, because I'm going to trust you're not coming up here and just saying whatever. Otherwise, I don't really know if anything else is actually true. It's all speculation. Same thing with Chennedy. So, I mean, what you saying, all of that, I mean, and I just want to have a real conversation around it. People think that, you know, I come up here and I just start to say race plays a role in it and that's it and all of that. No, I'm talking about all of it. It's nuanced. It's not any one thing. But I mean, was it that bad? Is my point. Like, even with the Chennedy Carter stuff, you question, like, someone so talented, is it that bad? And why is it that these owners, coaches, etc., have such small capacity for personalities that are, and I have to do this because we can find a white person with a similar personality and they're okay with it. I hate saying, like, I don't even like bringing that type of stuff up, or even I hate it, but I'm just
It's
saying
real. That's a
it's
valid
just
argument.
so
That's
it's
a
just
valid
like
criticism.
I just be kind of like, when people be like, well, this is why, well, he didn't interview well, he didn't this and that and the third, and I'm like, well, we can find literally a very similar or exact same situation, and they still did not have to punish or send this harsh of a message to said player.
Well, let me say this. It's not the first time it's happened. It's happened in the past. And you have to look at it like this and make it simple. If you are looking to hire someone and pay them a shit ton of money, and that person is going to represent your business, your franchise, your community, and the person they send you, for whatever reason, y'all not vibing, you just it didn't go right for whatever reason, are you going to still pay that money? And the reason I say it like that is because one of my good friends, his name is William Thomas. He was a linebacker with the Eagles for a long time, played his last 2 years with the Raiders, and he was a scout for the Los Angeles Raiders. And he told me, he said, listen, man, he said, do you really think we going to pay these dudes all this money and we don't know what the real is? And this was a situation, they was looking to draft somebody who had gotten some trouble on campus and stuff like that. The money they spend on these players, they know. They send people to campuses. They send folks to campuses, and nobody know they even there. They send spies. They know people, all of that type of stuff. Because you about to drop 16, $17 million.
You're not about to convince
find out
me.
what you got to find out.
But I got a question, Coach Marcus.
Sure.
I don't even got a question. I got a statement.
I got one thing. But even if you're not vibing, you're interviewing, and you're not vibing with, and that's your right that you're not vibing with this person. The person, look, let me tell you something about vibing. The person could have answered the question correctly, and you still not vibing with that person.
You're absolutely correct.
So, but when you go out your way to tell the next organization, because I didn't vibe with them.
Ego is something else, man. Ego is something else.
I didn't vibe with them, so all other 31 teams will not either. So let me put the word out.
Look at it like this, because a lot of times you don't have to put the word out. Your actions will show what you're doing, right? So,
wait, Coach Marcus, wait, because I can't. I get what you're saying. I just can't subscribe to it because, again, they draft drug users, women beaters, R words. They do
people that don't know the playbook, to save their life.
All day long they do that, or they let them stay in the league. They don't even kick them out of the league. They say, kiss baby, shake hands, we're gonna pay off whoever we need to pay off, and you can still be on the team, even though there are 10 women that can say that you did said thing, and they will let these people keep playing. Shedeur has done none of that. None of that. Nothing remotely close, but make his own music, perform it, and be rich. God forbid he be a rich black man. And God forbid he be confident in himself as a rich black man. And God forbid he has a father that is the same thing, who has literally played the same sport. So literally knows it in and out. I want to understand, but at some time, so at some point, I just be wanting to call a spade a spade. Like, it's okay for us to say they were punishing him because of his father, his skin color, he's rich. Like, it's so many things that it's nuanced. And I'm not saying he wasn't good in the interview either, because people will say that. Well, they said he wasn't. I'm not saying he would. I'm not saying Chennedy Carter shouldn't have been punished for hip checking or whatever, which punished is not the word I'm looking for, but called a flagrant on. I'm not saying people shouldn't be disgruntled by these things, but I just have a hard time understanding the personality part. Like, and look, I've been a manager before.
I got you
I've been
with
a
the
manager.
personality.
I've been a manager of restaurants before, and all that is people be like, oh, you do inventory, you do this and that. No, we manage personalities. That's all management is managing
Correct.
personalities. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
I totally understand. Let me tell you something. If your work ethic is there and the game speaks for itself, I'm cool. I mean, the game, whatever we're doing at the restaurant speaks for itself. I'm cool. I'm not firing people because I don't like their personality. Now, if you show up late, if you don't do your job, if you this, that, and the third, you could get the phone for real. But if you
Well,
if I gotta go in the office and talk to another manager and say I cannot stand Keisha, God, Keisha get on my nerves. But man, that girl gonna show up at 5 a.m. every day, open this stove, make sure ain't no money stole, everything on the shelf. I just got a deal. I got a deal because I know my business is gonna be ran correctly because she prides herself on her work ethic and how hard she
yeah,
works.
but Key, you putting the cart before the horse.
There's
Mm-hmm.
not
So
no cart. Where's the cart before the horse?
because you talking from a situation where somebody's already working. Now you apply that same situation, and somebody comes and say like, "Hey, I got this woman named Keisha. I want you to talk to her because I might have to put you on her team. I might have to put her on your team. You let me know what you think about her." And then in that conversation, that interview, you ain't feeling it, you ain't liking it, and it's your decision.
I'm gonna
Do
tell you,
you
and I'm
make
gonna tell
that?
you right now what I'm
And
gonna say. Go
I
ahead.
get where you're coming from, Coach Marcus.
I'm gonna be able
But
to
for
answer it.
me, but for me to go to the next employer and say, "Hey,
It's
Listen,
madness.
don't
Keisha
worry
don't
about that.
vibe with me,"
Listen, control what
it,
you can control.
right?
This
I
is what
get
I'm
it.
gonna say. This is
And you
Keisha.
can't, and hold on, Key.
Go ahead.
Before you make that decision, and this is the other thing that I have to throw in there, your business and your job is dependent upon this decision.
Come a dime a dozen. Like it. Look.
Yeah,
Okay.
but when it's your job,
Hear me when I
I
say.
don't know
I
Brian
get.
Dayball, but I know he want to keep his job.
Look,
That's
I
true.
get what you're saying. Listen, this is what I would have said if they would have. He worked out with you specifically. This, that, and the third. La la la. Whatever. This is what I would say. Genuinely, I'm not saying that because he should do the conversation we're having, or I want to be on his side. I would genuinely say, I ain't gonna lie, he kind of throws me off a little bit, or whatever the case may be. But I gotta reference basketball more than football. I'm not a really big football fan, but I'll say something like, "Kid has a great arm, this, that, and the third, whatever, whatever." I mean, if you want to give it a go because of these things, that's fine. He kind of, I would make it a me thing. Like I would specify it. I would not be on some like smear. It gets to a smear campaign type vibe
Mm.
when you don't
You
make it a you thing and what you feeling or are going through
well,
internally about the
we
person.
talked about this before because you brought up Kennedy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So think about it like this: when we talked about Kennedy Carter, there was no reason why she didn't play them last few games because if she had a played, Chicago would have made it to the playoffs. You agree?
Mm-hmm.
So it
Yeah.
had to be a damn good reason that they didn't have
When
her in
she's
them games.
sick and she had a foot injury.
I didn't believe that.
That's
I
for
got
you
you.
to feel, right? I know a lot of people feel that way. Like a lot of people are like, she wasn't
had a
actually
foot injury at
sick
the end.
and she didn't really have a foot injury or whatever.
Whatever happened after that incident in the locker room,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to throw that out, throw it out. They didn't bring her back, and Kennedy balled last year.
Yeah.
So
Correct. And my
it
point,
still comes. It still comes to the.
you're proving my point, though, Coach Marcus. I don't think you see that you're literally proving my point.
It's not about proving the point. What it ultimately comes down to, the people that are making decisions, if they don't like you for whatever reason, they're gonna make that decision.
Correct. But that's, I'm not debating that. But you were like giving me examples like I'm not debating that that's actually my point. As I'm saying, you're proving my point that this is not about interviewing badly, this, that, and the third. This is about that they're going to pick and choose who they want to deal with when it comes to these things and what messages or punishment they would like to happen.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And the only part, the only thing I will add to that, you are 100% correct. You are not wrong. And the only thing I'm saying is, when you go into that conversation, my guess is whatever conversation he had with the coach, when the coach called him out on something he was wrong about, whatever that conversation is, my guess is probably escalated, or the coach didn't like it. I don't know.
Okay.
Because again, let me go back. New York was high on Shedeur.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever happened in that interview, I don't think it was just as simple as, well, he didn't draw the play up right. Had to be something else going on with that. And it had to be something enough of where the coach was like, yeah, this ain't gonna work. Because if he's doing this on a simple install, or it's like if somebody comes to your restaurant and they say, hey, I got experience in this department, and you say, tell me what you would do, and they explain it to you, you say, well, we do it a little bit different over here, blah blah blah. Well, I ain't doing it like that, because over here and they start attacking you like that. Whatever the situation is, you're gonna be like, well, hold on, I understand that, but this is how we do it here.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's some rules and some regulations, and you got to be able to, and I say this all the time, and it applies for any sport, you got to learn how to play the game a little bit, and the game ain't fair. And if that's the dude you're trying to impress, and he wants something run a certain way, you got to do it how he want to do it, because that's what you got to do, period.
And I'm cool with it, because at the end of the day, yeah, you do prove our point, Coach Marcus. Yeah, the game ain't fair,
No,
and it wasn't fair.
No.
And one interview shouldn't negate 4 years of film.
it shouldn't. I agree with you 100%, but it does, and it happens every year.
It should not.
got
Shedeur's
you.
situation specifically is bull crap, and nobody could convince me different. Now, like I said, like they're all similar. I think Shedeur, Angel Reese, Chennedy Carter, the type of athletes, all of that stuff. Now the situations are completely different. Chennedy Carter, I think her biggest thing is resume. I've said that before. Like resume is an issue when it comes to her, and also the forces are working against you on top of you having a weak resume per se. And then obviously Shedeur has 4 years of tape, so I don't understand it. But also they're trying to see if he's going to make it to the next level, and they haven't seen him play on the next level yet. But
and
I
also
think,
don't forget who was the last two MVPs in the NFL. Last 2 out of 3 years, Lamar Jackson.
Who was snubbed.
You know what happened to Lamar Jackson? Because they had the same conversation with Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was the last pick in the first round. He was the last guy in the waiting room that they show all the time. Him and his mama. He was
in the first round, though.
But guess
not
what
the
you
fifth
said,
round.
the first round.
Fifth round is crazy word.
No, it is crazy. But my point is, Lamar was supposed to be the first quarterback taken.
He was.
So
And they didn't like his answer in the interview. They didn't like his mama being the agent.
Correct.
A lot of stuff they didn't like.
It's always something. And here's the thing that worked against Shedeur this year. It wasn't really a lot of teams that needed quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't really a lot of teams.
Yeah.
So
that actually needed them. Yeah.
Yeah. So I still go back to what I said in the beginning. I'm glad Cleveland picked him up. I just hope they give him a legitimate opportunity to play and show what he does. Now, if he gets out there and he stinks it up, because that happens before, you got people that are all world in college and they get to the league and it's a different level and they cannot adjust. Happens every
Yeah,
year.
it does happen every year. Yeah, you're right about that.
So
I
I
think
just
he
hope
just wanted a chance,
he
though. He
just
just
wanted his chance. And just like the WNBA, we got to remember, Shedeur was making reportedly like 30 something million in NIL deals. He going to the NFL taking a pay cut.
he is.
Yeah, similar to Angel Reese.
So, but he wants to make it on his own merit. He
He
don't want to be
does.
known as Dion's kid everywhere he go.
No, he
Mm-hmm.
don't.
So, but some of this is probably on Shedeur. A lot of it is not. I agree with you. A lot of it is bullshit. It's not fair. But again, and I just say this because you told me you really don't pay attention to NFL. This happens every year. And let's not forget, Keisha, you know where I'm coming. Who always has to be twice as good as everybody else?
We do.
Us.
Yeah, we do. It's
We
unfair,
do.
but
Yeah.
it is because we don't own.
Correct.
If you
We
hey,
don't own anything.
Keisha, I
So
don't know if I don't know if y'all ever watched Scandal when the daddy cussed Olivia Pope out.
yeah, I remember
Uh,
that clip that goes around on the internet all
I
the
mean,
time.
it's basically what you just said, Coach Marcus. Her dad in the show, Olivia Pope works for the government, blah, 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 whatever.
mhm.
Her dad works for the deeper government, and he just walks up to her and he's like, you know damn well you gotta be twice. How many times? And she's a grown woman, but she's just sitting there and she's like, twice as
It's like
good.
And you want to know something that's interesting? Nobody thinks about it like this. You ever notice when a player gets drafted, they show the white player, the white family, the black family, all of that kind of stuff. When they show the white family and all the people around, if you could look in the background of that room and see all them people, most likely there's somebody in that dude's family that probably makes $1 million a year, already got $1 million in the bank. And it's different on our side. Sometimes you might see that Shedeur is a unicorn,
yeah.
but you understand what I'm saying. So
Yeah.
it's almost like the thing of, are you hungry or do you just want something to eat?
Yeah. I mean, I think he'll prove people wrong for sure. I think he'll
Yeah,
do
I think he'll be fine. They just let the
but
bullshit.
I hope they let him too. I'm not gonna sit up here and just say now he just has this chance. I mean, I think it's possible for them to still mess with him.
Oh, he's gonna have to fight like Angel had to fight. I mean,
Yeah.
the W is worse because a lot of people get cut in the W.
Yeah,
So
I was not ready
you
for that.
know,
I was not ready
yeah.
for, like, I'm still trying to figure out what happened to what's her name? Daisha Fair?
Yeah.
She,
I mean,
She
she's
was a
too
first
small.
rounder and didn't even, I was like, damn.
She's too small. I don't even know why they drafted her that high. She too small.
But also remember this, and this is for every sport, every professional sport.
For Vegas, let me because people be
Go
taking
ahead.
the one thing. I say one piece of my thought, and people be like, what the fuck you my bad. Daisha Fair is not too small for the league. Vegas drafted her, and they already had KP, who is also pretty small.
Right.
Defensively, it was a struggle, things of that nature.
Got
yeah,
All I'm
yeah,
people go
I
ahead.
got you.
yeah.
But what I was gonna say, I'll land my plane and get up out of here.
Okay.
When you play a pro sport,
Mm-hmm.
you have reached the top 1% of your class. And every
Yeah,
year, somebody is trying to take your job.
they are.
Every year.
Right.
You making $7 million a year, and you got some 22-year-old from University of Georgia that's gonna take your spot.
Hmm. If you don't keep, if you
So
don't
so
keep
so here's the
going,
dilemma. Here's the dilemma. Are you a good teammate, or is it cutthroat because that's your job on the line?
hmm
That's a mental thing that most people don't think about when it comes to pro sports.
I know.
So it's a lot to it. It's a lot of nuances. I appreciate the conversation, Key. Y'all keep doing your thing. Keisha, you almost at 1K. Keep doing it.
I am.
That's
I'm trying to get there, player. I'm
Keep
trying to
getting
get
there.
hopefully
there,
soon.
player.
Y'all, you
Yeah.
know what? Y'all, you doing it because y'all lives is I just looked at my analytics today, and I was like, I just told my wife today, I was like, I got to redo some things. She was like, "What do you mean?" I said, I'm getting a lot of good response from my videos, but I looked at the CPM for my lives. I was like, I need to be doing more lives because the amount of money you can make off of lives is a lot higher. And I was like, okay, I need to reevaluate this. I got to step the game up in the live.
Trying to figure out that algorithm. Me
That
and
algorithm
Kiki.
is something special, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. That's what we've been trying to figure out. But yeah,
Been
Keisha's at
trying to-
980. Keisha's at 981 now. You at 981, Keisha. I'm at
Thank
880.
you.
Shout out to y'all for 880. Thank you so
Thank
much.
y'all.
I was at 875. I said 5 subscribers by the end of this live. So shout out to y'all.
Yep.
If you're
There you
on
go. Keep it
Twitter,
moving.
thank you. I appreciate it, Coach Marcus, and I appreciate you coming up here as well.
For sure.
Listen,
Anytime.
if you on Twitter, please come over and subscribe to our channels, WBB Universe. Keisha will drop it in the chat, and subscribe to Cut the Ish Real Talk Sports and Pro Fan Talk. Pro Fan
I'll
Talk
drop it in the thing.
as well, right? Or is it Pro Fan Talk Sports?
I'll drop it in the
it's just
chat.
at Pro Fan Talk.
At Pro
Okay.
Fan Talk as well.
That's
Thank
my
y'all so much.
Here, I'll put them on Twitter.
Go ahead, drop
My Twitter
everything
is
in
something
there.
totally different.
But listen,
Oh,
y'all, we're gonna get up out of here in a few minutes. Stick around though. It's 245 of y'all. Hit the like button and subscribe. I love kicking it with y'all. So many of y'all in here, it makes me want to stay. But with some other news that we have, Chennedy Carter signs to a Mexican team. Training camp starts tomorrow for the WNBA. Yes. Training camp tomorrow for the WNBA, y'all. And today we found out that Chennedy Carter signs to a Mexican team. Tell me what y'all think about that. I might have to end this live and maybe maybe not. I might go take my behind to go eat or something. But
we about to get up out of here, but
yeah.
Chennedy Carter.
But this was interesting
quick,
to find out today, y'all.
How did you like the Neon interview?
Oh, I didn't care for it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I didn't like it. I thought it didn't hurt her, but it didn't do her any favors.
It didn't do her any good. It's not the player empowerment people think it is. I think players should be allowed to interview and do whatever and speak their piece, but it's not what she
find
thought
somebody
it was.
that at least watches the W. Good Lord.
Yeah, that's what Keisha said. Keisha was like, I don't understand it. But that's a lot of millennial stuff is like, I'll go on a streamer, but it's like go on a WNBA streamer or women's sports streamer.
Right.
You know what I said when I watched that interview?
What you
I
said?
said he ain't comfortable talking to women.
He didn't look comfortable.
He was not comfortable talking. Did you notice that he was talking and all of a sudden he was like, "You got hazel eyes? Really? Oh, that's."
Oh,
he
you
was
watched
all
the
over
whole
the place.
thing.
He was all over the place, and then he didn't. You could tell he didn't watch the W at all.
Yeah, no, that was clear. Like you don't know.
Annoying.
Yeah, I mean, you don't know what's going on. I'm with you. Tulip plays. I hope she balls out and is appreciated over there. For sure. She will ball out. That's what she does. It's the bare minimum for Chennedy. So she will. I mean, we don't gotta even think about that. However, y'all could like, I wish her well and all of that stuff. What I have to say is it's a lot of things that could be happening externally, but I need her to be okay internally. I hope Chennedy is okay with what is playing out in her, life currently internally. And as long as she's okay, then not to say that I'm okay, but like then fine. Because I'm all for people not playing the game. Like I've never been if I told y'all about my life, okay. So I'm all for people saying screw the system, screw the man, all of that. Please light it on fire. I'm cool with it. I'm radical like that. But if I need you to be okay with that decision is my point. And if you're not okay with it, then just play the game. Nobody's gonna think any less of you if you do. Shedeur to me made that decision that he was going to just play the game. That's what I saw today by him going in the 5th round. He said, you know what? I want to play football, so I'm going to play the game. And he didn't say screw the game. You know what? I could pull myself out. I don't care if y'all going to draft me 5th round. I don't even want to. He could have did that. The man is
he
does not have to do that. So he decided to go with it. And then sometimes you get blackballed. Sometimes it's not even your choice to play the game. So I don't know what it is for Chennedy. I've not spoken to her personally. It's all speculation. So I don't know if she chose not to play the game by not accepting a training camp contract, coming off the bench or something of that nature, or if nobody ever even offered her anything. I don't know which one it was. She could have got offers and just said, I don't want to do that. But it is interesting to find out today, the day before training camp tomorrow, that she signed to a Mexican team. They are called the Adelitas de Chihuahua. Adelitas de Chihuahua. Love her down, y'all. Love her down. I love Camilla too, but y'all, I have a job 8:30 to 5 Monday through Friday, and I do overtime. I cannot watch overseas play, unfortunately, and I would love to cover them as far as women's basketball goes, but I cannot watch it. So if y'all can, go ahead and support the girl, but I'm gonna do the best I can and try to catch highlights. I mean, she's a great player. It's not much that can show me that. So that's her decision, and she just got to be okay with it. And if she's okay with it, like I said, I'm cool with it. You got any final words or thoughts, Keisha?
No, I'm good. I wish her the best. I'm glad she's not giving up. She's gonna continue playing, and all you can do is take every chance that comes to you, Key. That's all you can do. You can go somewhere and sulk, but that ain't gonna get you nowhere. You got to keep it pushing. And so if they giving her an opportunity to make the best of it, and let's see what we got. I just think she know the writing was on the wall, so this is what she needed to do.
Yeah. And my last thing that I'm gonna say, we got about 3 minutes. I'm gonna have to wrap it up, y'all. Y'all don't know my little secrets on why I gotta keep it under a certain time. But
yeah, I understand.
Listen, I'll say this. I'm cooling for now. It's cool for now. If she does not get signed next year, the writing is more than on the goddamn wall. It's on the blimp in the sky. Okay. If she does not get signed next year with 2 teams coming into the league, with what's going on in the league growing, etc. This year is like neither here nor there to me. It is kind of like, oh, she didn't get signed this year, but it's not the end of the world now. If she does not get signed next year, then I for sure think by halfway through the season next year, if she's not signed to a team, then I think it's a wrap for her. I'm not gonna ever close the door on anyone. I'm not saying that, like, I don't know, randomly they won't pick her up 2 years. I don't know. But I do think that would be the right, and definitely on the blimp is like, yeah, she's out the league. We're good. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean, Keisha? Like, she don't get picked up next year. It's a wrap for her, and it is.
Yeah.
It's completely overseas. And then one last thing I am gonna say is also, people say all of this. Well, just China, where she's appreciated and all of that. Man, it ain't nothing like being appreciated, loved, all of that stuff. But man, when you're a competitor, you could care less. You want to compete against the best. And Chennedy is one of the best players, if not top two guard in the league, if you ask me. And I know she wants to play against the best players in the damn world as far as the WNBA. So you're not going to convince me that it's like, oh, yay, I get to play with people overseas and make more money and they appreciate me more. You know what I'm saying?
No.
I feel like she wants to play with the best of the best. And so, and I would love to see that, right? Because you don't get the stamp of being the best if you don't play against the best. You could think that all you want to, but if you don't get to play against those players, then it's not the same. But listen, thank y'all so much, Keisha, Coach Marcus, Pro Fan Talk, Cut the Ish, Real Talk Sports, my chat, everybody. Thank y'all so much for coming through. You know how I feel about y'all. Listen, everybody, make sure you're safe and come through for another banger. It's either going to be a surprise live later or no live at all. So y'all have a great rest of your night.
Thanks, Cart Blanco,
for the $4.99 super chat. Be safe, y'all, and I'm out.